Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words from some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the walls. The chair is against the walls. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific for about an hour or 90 minutes each day. We run, we do 3 gun-related topics each day, different topics throughout the week. We run it live on YouTube. We simulcast it over at gunchannels.com. We're watching the live comments that are coming in over at Gun Channels and over on YouTube. We'll eventually, occasionally remember to sometimes take some of the audio and post it over on iTunes as a podcast. So whenever we do that, we appreciate people who do take the time to leave us some feedback, or even better yet, the people that subscribe to us and leave us feedback, like the videos, give them the thumbs up, click on the little bell to receive the announcements when our show goes live. That's a thing you do over on YouTube. There's a little bell over there that when you click on it, that's how you receive alerts from that channel. So we appreciate everybody that clicks those little, triggers those little incidents on the platforms, on these social media places, because that's how these platforms decide, how relevant content is. So all of those actions really do help to give our show more credibility, a better reputation out on these platforms. So we do appreciate that favor. There are three hosts, 4 hosts.
2, 1, 0.
Today.
Take off.
We got Bob jumping in from Canada.
Okay, glad to be here.
We got Dano jumping in from Illinois.
Glad I could make it, boys and girls. Thanks for joining today's show.
And not sure where Smeggy's at, so I'm down here in Arizona, and we are in the midst of the beginnings of episode 380. No, that's wrong. Yeah, 387. Today we'll be talking about Second Amendment issues. What happened in the first one? Did we not have one? Look, I thought we had one. So anyway, we got a Second Amendment issue.
You mean this number 2? Number 2 is the state's my part.
I know, but I'm saying the first segment of the show, it's blank.
Yeah, I just saw Second Amendment issues. I thought you knew something beyond that.
Nope, I don't know. Anyway, so we have a topic about to happen. You'll find out when we find out. And we're going to be talking about if you were traveling multi-states and your situation without a CCW. Let's say you were just a regular person and you wanted to drive from state to state. What does the Safe Commerce and Travel, or whatever it's called, Act provide us as federal citizens as we go through the various states? We'll take a look at a sample theoretical trip. And then I think that's right. And then we'll go to the state of the state. Today we're going to talk about Utah, the cooler state. And then our normal stuff we do on the day, the gun shop of the day, the gun of the day, the echo of the day. And let's see. Before we dig into the show, we usually take a break at the beginning and ask if anything happened overnight that is worth talking about.
Other than the missile that went over Japan?
I guess there's that. I was going to say Matt had his Geek and Nerd show, and they talked about their nerd show, and then that TV show they all like so much, and then we did the top 5 Bond ladies. Kind of interesting. What would you guys say, the Bond ladies, the earlier Bond ladies or the more recent Bond ladies? If you had to pick top 5, definitely.
Earlier.
Later.
Interesting. See, I would have said earlier, if nothing else, because they're all attractive and they're all, again, there's a ton of them, so they're all going to be interesting, and some of them are lame, but just as homage to the beginnings of the tradition or whatever. Like, and some of those ones are iconic with the bathing suits and the names, whatnot. But yeah, it seemed to be real, recent centric. Like most of the winners were like from the last couple of movies. Anyway, interesting show. HBS, I think, had a show, but I was doing. So I was playing around with some stuff.
And he did war movies was his main topic for the evening.
Okay. Any reason, or just as a topic?
If there was a reason, I didn't catch what it was.
Right on. Well, in case we forget what we won't, today is Tuesday, so Andalusia Armory is happening right now. Like, as we speak, Andalusia is happening. So we got 19 viewers. Maybe that's because the other 325 are listening to Andalusia Armory right now instead. But if you aren't, then feel free to remember that Andalusia Armory is there, and feel free to listen to them at any time during the week. That's the nice thing about doing these things in this format, is while we're live and there's that whole added level of interactivity or participation, you can listen to these things after the fact. And, you know, while they get stale after some amount of time, I suppose, not our show, because we don't react to lame agenda-fed news stories of the day. But some of those things, you know, you listen to them and you can still get a lot out of them. So definitely Andalusia Armory, they're not going to waste your time. So you could listen to that tomorrow. You could listen to them live and listen to us tomorrow, and you'd still get just about as much satisfaction out of the show. Anyway, after that, we'll have a couple other shows coming up, Hit or Miss, Big Gunner 81. Oh, and today is, what's it called? Tactical Tuesday with Ghost. I forget what he calls it, something Tuesday. Dano knows, but he ain't saying.
I forgot my mic was muted. Yeah, in fact, I think he starts the top of the hour or shortly thereafter.
All right, so we're talking about Ghost Tactical over on Gun Channel. So now we have some news. He says on the Gun Channel side, he's now officially verified on VidMe. Thanks to everybody that's followed him so far. So I'm curious, did you reach the 50, or this was by, you know, you were just waiting to hear back from what, Sunday, when you put in your request? Was this pre-50? I forget, or have you already hit 50? Anyway, that's good to hear though. So basically on VidMe, VID, Bob would say, how the hell do you people say V? Ved, India, Delta, dot, Mike, what's E? Edward? No. Echo. So not .com, but .me. So vid.me.
It's Echo.
Yeah. Thanks. That would
have you forgotten already?
This would have been more apropos. So anyhow, over on VidMe, when you get verified, that's how you are able to get tips and subscriptions. People can subscribe to your channel, I think, and they can also just drop you a tip. So that's kind of cool. I really hope to see people go towards this, at least for a while. I'm not saying in the whole rest of time things have to go this way as we see the internet evolves, but I think we've really gone in the direction of emulating old media and having the money trickle down from above. You know, the people wanting to sell you stuff or creating content on the, you know, TV and movies, either through product placement like Bob was talking about yesterday, or maybe paying for an ad in a magazine or something like that, or paying to keep a magazine alive. So you're going to tend to see editorials that favor their advertisers and stuff, you know. So trickle down as opposed to trickle up. People that have the access to the means of distribution of information, right, the internet, and then have the means of production. We have the tools. Now, Benjamin Franklin gave us printing presses long time ago, or at least made them easy to use, and you know, brought publications to the masses. That's one of the things, you know, it's one of the things that made our country what we did in the ways we changed the world. But it's, you know, our opportunity to do the same with all this electronic versions of what Ben Franklin was doing. So I ain't saying each one of you is like Ben Franklin, because some of you are like Jefferson, or like I don't know, Washington, one or the other. So anyway,
Ben Franklin, as the older gentleman, was still chasing the skirts.
He was Randy, what I understand. But anyway, it's good to hear they verified.
I know someone like that that's here.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. That's why we're kicking this guy off the show. Did you just compare Bob to Benjamin Franklin?
No comment.
It's ridiculous. Is it Thursday already? All right. So
it can be if you really want it.
Rupan is asking, what software am I using to animate the dog puppet? It is from Adobe, and it is called Character Animator, and it's basically a puppet. So it's super cool. Unfortunately, my laptop can't handle the video card on my laptop can't handle it. We were actually late today because we were talking about the debate. Do I go with a laptop that can do the new software and just buy a new laptop, which I could probably use? I don't have a W on this one and haven't used a separate keyboard and everything. Plus, it's kind of shitty and it can't even run software anymore. Or do I build a little machine up that, you know, is video centric, like a little animation machine? Because I am super stoked to play with that further. It seems really easy to deal with, and I was just telling these guys off air, we could literally animate Bob's little dude there, Dano's little Glock there, well, a little Glock, I guess, and then, well, I got all kinds of ideas. So I'm looking forward to playing with that software more, but it's from Adobe. Lots of tutorials online, like anything. Just sit there and watch them. I can show you a couple. I'll probably post some tutorials when I start doing some how-tos on the gear channels, and link you to a couple of the channels. The channels are done by Adobe, so obviously they're produced by the people that create this stuff, so they're pretty well done and they're pretty to the point. Get you to use the software, to get you right in there and using it pretty quick. I mean, I did that dog one in moments, and I'm using a crippled laptop that I can't open all the toolbars in the software. So pretty neat stuff. Anyhow, so looking forward to a lot more of those. The little cartoon dog, I didn't know that's what I was missing, but yeah, that's definitely, I'm looking forward to playing with that in the videos in the future here. We'll have to make a little cartoon Charlie now.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right, so did we get totally lost there? We had started out talking about anything going on before the show, and then I kind of got into what's going on tonight. So I wanted to hit that at the beginning right away because of Andalusia Armory. So I think from now we will.
I feel like we're running the show in reverse order.
Yeah, well, like I said,
Bob's going to give a quote.
Well, but here's the thing. A lot of times, Tuesday especially, feels like we're slamming right into people. Now, I don't mind, because one of the reasons we encourage people to do the shows, well, we encouraged Andalusia Armory to do a show, and then we laid our show right on top of them like a bunch of dicks. But when Ghost came along and started doing his show on Tuesday, we definitely encouraged them to do so. We have literally a 3-show pileup because we want to get rid of that paradigm that there has to be one show at a time. We're not CNN, we're not HBO, we're not a network on gun channels. We're more like the cable company or just the internet. You know, it's really large enough and able to support many, many things at the same time. So I'm glad that we're able to get rid of that on Tuesdays. But at the same time, I don't want people that are watching us to not realize that, you know, right now there's other shows happening. Anyway, so yeah, that's why we went backwards today. Let's dig in. So we'll start with the Second Amendment issue. Do we have one today, or do you want to talk about computers? I kind of want to talk about computers. So
what I'd like to do is the following. If you've seen the side notes, is it's time for the tactical pop quiz. Yes, boys and girls.
You know what? There was
when it was coming, and it is finally here. So those of you on YouTube, those of you on gun channels, put your cursors down in the text box, limber up your fingers, and get your brain firing on all cylinders.
no hint of a
Webs,
breeze.
are you available to assist? And have you seen the answer?
Yep.
Excellent. So I will read the question twice because I like repeating myself. Today's question was sent in by Angry American. So thank you, Angry. And if you have any questions, please feel free to let them know. All right. And on that note, the question is as follows. What's the difference between the Nagant Privates model and the officers model revolvers? Again, what's the difference between the Nagant Privates model and the officers model revolvers? And thanks again, Angry, for sending in this question and answer. And if you have questions and answers, send them to thedailygunshow@gmail.com, subject line pop quiz.
the lanyard is not the difference that we're looking for. The shininess is not the difference we're looking for, nor are the grips. Nor are the grips. The barrel length are not the difference. That's Mr. Knives bringing that one in. We have Blue Dog with an answer there. Cycle. Double. He just says da versus sa. So is he super lazy or in a big hurry? Da versus sa.
I think you better add a little. Uh-oh. Enrique, double action, single action.
I think we would be ultimate douchebags if we didn't take da versus sa, because we all know what that is. So anyway,
double
action.
Put D-A-C-A or S-A?
Yeah, he answered it. I was just kidding.
Oh, okay.
So Enrique did answer it completely and accurately. Just
Yes.
the answer we were looking for. It's just that it was like, I don't know, an hour and a half after Cycle Camp, did it way quicker with abbreviations, thus proving, even on YouTube, the laggiest of all ways to listen to our show, and y'all seen it happen here live, that at 4:21 p.m., he used abbreviations to bypass technology and win the Daily Pop Quiz.
And Enrique, yes, I think except for the time, you nailed it. So, Cycle Camp, congratulations. You are today's Tactical Pop Quiz winner. Congratulations. And with that, I hand the microphone over to Bob.
And Cycle Camp, I guess that makes you today's Tactical Pop Quiz shot of the day.
Congratulations, Cycle Camp. And thanks, Cycle Camp, for sending in. You're another regular contributor to the questions and answers on the Tactical Pop Quiz.
He didn't send that question in, though, did he?
No, as I mentioned, Angry American is the one that sent that particular one in.
No, it's not.
But, no, it's been speculated that when Dano steps down from his position, we'll see a whole different bunch of people winning this thing on a regular basis. I guess with the implication that this thing's rigged the whole time. This thing's been fixed from the beginning.
There is.
I'm not trying to just stir up controversy, but there'll be more tomorrow. Stay tuned. All right, so that was the Tactical Pop Quiz.
You do know today is Tuesday.
So listen tomorrow. Maybe it'll be more. So, all right, so unprecedented doing it. Is that before we even did the first topic today?
Exactly. That's how late we are in getting the show going.
It kind of is. So we were going to step into this first topic, Second Amendment issues. We don't care about the Second Amendment, really. Come on. We got Trump now. We care about the Second Amendment. Let's talk about computers. Let's talk about buying stuff. So I need to, as I mentioned, get a card, or I need to get in myself into a situation where I have OpenGL 3.2 or better. So from what I understand, OpenGL, some kind of computer magic for stupid video games and video cards. So it's some sort of mathematical equation. You have to run some software on your machine. It's sort of like doing a speed test with the through your bandwidth, through your internet connection. Kind of is variable. So you run this software on your machine, and it'll tell you what your OpenGL rating is. And mine is accumulated 3.1. So I need to be 3.2. Ultimately frustrating. I think the scale is from like 2 to 5 or something. So from what I understand,
mind if I put a little meat on the bone there? Open Graphics Library is a cross-language, cross-platform application programming interface API for rendering 2D and 3D vendor graphics.
Nerd. Okay. Yes.
Hey, I'm a gun nerd. I'm a nerd. I can't help it. Details.
Are you
is
just
what I live for.
Are you just reading that off of the Wikipedia, or do you know something about this thing though?
Hey, just because I got fingers that can at the speed of light.
Well, no, but that's my thing. I mean, I've heard of it, I guess, before, but I paid like literally zero attention, because as long as my monitor works and it has like decent screen, I could care less, because I almost do nothing ever that requires video. Maybe when I do video editing, but I do the shittiest video editing there is to do. So like I very rarely stress out a video card. I never even consider it. Like I say, I just use whatever video card's laying around normally when we build computers. But now I find that I have to deal with it. So I run this software on my machines, every machine I've got, and they come up to 3.1. And I've played around last night trying to see what I could do to soup up my machine. Didn't change it at all. I still got 3.1. So I suspect it's like a hardware thing. All right, so I needed a new computer anyway. I got like a W missing. It's all old and crappy. There's other keys that are dead now. And when I took it apart way too much before I figured out that it's really easy to swap a keyboard. So it's in a computer report. It's a computer in condition that I've taken it apart like completely, like an idiot. So that means like every screw isn't as tight as it once was. So anyway, it's about time for a new laptop. But Daniel brought up a good point about getting a desktop. So what do you think? A small, like maybe even portable desktop unit, or just go with? I'm looking at two different laptops. One's $400, and I think the other one is $1,200. And one of them is a little bit better than what I have now, and the other one's significantly better than I have now with Windows 10. Another question is, what would you say, Windows 7, which I have now, and I would just get one with Windows 7 and leave it there, or get one with Windows 10 right away already?
Well, if the graphics software is what's driving everything, as long as it's compatible with what you have, that doesn't matter. The only purpose of your OS is to support the application, and if this application is happy with it, it's a non-issue.
Okay. Well, I guess future upgradableness or whatever is the only issue there, but
yes, there is that.
CycleCamp is saying Windows 10, he hates it, and I don't use Windows 10, so I don't know, but
I've used several people's computers that have Windows 10. I absolutely hate it. Mine has Windows 8.1, which is not that far off from 10, and I also am not a fan of it.
I think that's the one I have used, but like hours of it, like not very much. And I kind of got used to it. I do plan on getting a touchscreen. So the one that I'm looking at is a touchscreen. I can't get enough of touchscreens, and for some of the animation stuff, it's gonna make it physically easier, because some of the stuff is just tougher with a mouse than it is if you just touch the screen to wiggle stuff. So
one thing I'll give you note of is, and I've noticed this on every touchscreen, it looks like somebody used it who just got done eating pizza with their hands.
Oh no, hold on. Bob can tell you. Mine looks like somebody was eating pizza with their hands and then coughed all over my laptop. My laptop is gross. Remember, I carry it all around. My dog has probably pooped on it before. I'm always just throwing it in my laptop bag and then opening it up somewhere, and it's all dusty. Some people around here smoke and blow up smoke at it. That always makes the computer gross. So, yeah, my computers are beat. They're not treated tenderly.
I mean, because it's just not like to open up somebody else's computer that has a touchscreen and you see all these like smears, and it's like, what is that? Peanut butter and jelly on the screen?
His computer looks like something anyone else would throw away.
It does, definitely. Except that I make more money than some people off of it. So I don't care.
My computers all look really nice. They're carbon fiber and things, but they're 5 years old.
Carbon fiber, you make it sound like you're going to use it as an armor plate. Look, I got carbon nanotubes.
Well, no, he's talking about that, like how they make them like dipped, like they look like they're made out of like carbon fiber. Anyway, so
it is carbon fiber. The case is carbon fiber because it makes it lighter.
So Dusty's saying, what I'm guessing my thought was, Windows 7 won't be updated forever, and although I don't like the idea of 10, it's kind of dumb to invest in something that's already sunsetted, basically. And I know how Windows is. I know it'll keep going for a long, long time, and eventually it'll actually be less vulnerable. But I don't have any fear of going forward and learning stuff. And my other concern is that I'm using a web-based software. I mean, the software I'm talking about being able to use is online. It's a web cloud-based software, constantly updated. It doesn't seem very prudent to stick around to old software and rely on it being backwards compatible forever. When everything else is going to continually be going forward.
Yeah, but you got to remember though, like Windows, the shitty one is Windows 10 is always replaced by something even better.
Well, yeah, but I'm also talking like $400, and I'm not talking like, I can't ever buy another computer again.
Yeah, no, but like Windows 7, I just keep, like when I get a new computer, I just transfer my operating system over.
Yeah, well, that's not. You don't do that with laptops.
Yeah, you do.
If you want to fight, then go for it. But, I mean, if you want to fight like every internal driver and stuff, then go for it. I wouldn't want to do all that when
Yeah.
literally
It's
put it
only
all.
a matter of time
It's with
that
one
you're going
thing.
to have a piece of hardware that's not supported.
That's crazy. That's like trying to put together something that has already been put together. Like, why do it yourself? Anyway, we're not getting a lot of answers to the. I know I've asked a couple of 3 questions, but not much answers on the laptop versus like a portable desktop.
I think a desktop, because you could just build one just for the van.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I really haven't looked at building a computer in a long time. They must make little enclosures and stuff to build car computers, huh? That maybe even
Hell
just
yeah.
volts.
Well, either that or you can get one that you can just run off your inverter. I mean, they don't use a lot of power.
That's what I'm saying. I don't even want to go to 120. I'd rather build a little. I'd build a Raspberry if I could get one to run the software, but I suspect it won't. So I'm thinking a little small desktop and then just leave it in the van. Well, I don't want to leave it in the van. I mean, make it portable, and then
Just put a case in the van that's ventilated. And
I mean, you can use your laptop monitor as the monitor. That's fine.
I don't know about that, but I'm not going to run a whole laptop just for the monitor.
I'm just saying you can run a cable out from that into your laptop.
just mount a couple of cheap LCD monitors in the van on mobile.
Number one, I'm not building a van computer, so that's nice. I don't mind using it in the van, but I'm not dedicating a computer to the van. I don't need a computer in the van all the time, and why would it? I don't need a permanent computer in my van. So if it's portable in the van,
Or at least make one that's easy to take from the house to the van.
well, that's what I'm saying. So, but I'm saying there must be little portable enclosures now, because people, I'm sure, have had similar.
There is. I've seen like guys who just carry their computer around and they go to other people's houses and they just use whatever they got for a TV for a monitor. And, you know, they do gaming with them and stuff like that.
And unless my old drives and stuff are no good, I probably have components that I can. That's probably the way to go. So I'll dig into that, and we won't keep tying up more of this show. We've already run over a bit, but thanks for everybody for being a little bit nerdy here. Well, if you want to continue this conversation, I'll probably do like a computer chat or something to get an idea of what I need to start, selling stuff we're saving up for here to upgrade so we can keep going with the cartoons and stuff.
Yeah, but the input, I think the best source of input are people who are already doing graphics work.
Right. And now, of course, Enrique, who does graphics work and is in the biz, says, don't waste your time with a desktop unless you make it specifically to do the video work. Just get a powerful laptop. And that was sort of my thing, because I really have enjoyed the last couple of years just working off laptops exclusively. It is pretty handy.
The difference is going to be the cost. It is the cost versus performance. Is a laptop that's going to be as powerful as that desktop is going to be tremendously more expensive.
Just to put it in perspective so that people don't waste their time typing, we've built computers for a living for many, many years. So I'm familiar with building computers and the concepts and all that. So I understand the concept, the advantages of building it. Like I say, I'm thinking more of, and for the longest time, I wouldn't even have considered a laptop. They were nothing but trouble. It's just that these last ones were $300 each. And like I say, they're really, really well. They're built well, and they're Dells. They work good. You just fold them, and I've got an hour worth of remote using it, which is pretty handy. And I'm sure a new one would give me the same hour plus worth of remote use, and pretty much not thinking about it. But anyways, there's no more thinking to do. I just figured I just figured out yesterday that I need to start worrying about this. So we will continue on with the show. So that'll take us to the second segment, which wild card segment, and we're going to do a theoretical trip across the country if you don't have any type of CCW. But before we do, we always feature one of the members over at Gun Channels between the first and second segment of the show. Gun Channels is a community. It's a place we built a while back. It's focused on firearms. It's completely driven by its members. Because of that, we feature a member each day. So today it's Squib. Been a member there a long time. Been an active member in the chats. Pretty much everybody, I'm sure, is familiar with them. He's met up with Smeggy, I think, on shooting. So also active in the real life end of it, or the putting foot on the ground type of.
He's also participated a lot in sending us things we can use on this show. As an example, we've used a number of his emails that he sent into us on gun shops as well as other sites, and we have a couple that he sent in that we haven't gotten to yet. So if you're listening, Squib, we do have those, and we are going to get to them. Unfortunately, we're missing somebody today. So we may not get to yours in particular, but it is there. We have not forgotten.
All right, and with that, we will move into the trip across.
Yes. Yeah, and what this is based off of, if you don't mind me grabbing the microphone, is, because I certainly don't mind sharing, is my son's going to be taking a trip out to California. And he does not have a concealed carry license. He does have a pistol, and he's authorized by all the various qualifications. And he's taking from going from Illinois through Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and then finally out to California. And I've done a bit of research in regards to peaceable journey laws for my own peace of mind as a parent. On his stroll out there, what I'm looking for is any of you who happen to be listening to this, if you know something that I may not have mentioned that he might need to know, please feel free to put it in a comment or email it to the show. Either one is fine. But all those states that I just named, and California, I'm going to put a little exclamation mark by it. I'll explain that in a moment, but are all peaceable journey states. California specifically, as I understand it, with the mag limit of 10, that you cannot bring in a magazine greater than 10, and in addition to that, you also cannot bring either in pieces or in whole magazine parts that would be greater than 10. So as long as they stick to to that little caveat of the magazine limit of 10, then California would fall under the peaceable journey laws. The other states that he'll be taking his route back will be going through, going up to San Francisco and then cutting over to Nevada, Utah, Wyoming. He may possibly go Colorado in there, which does have, again, a magazine restriction of 15 rounds or less. But otherwise, as far as I know, should be a peaceable journey state. And then into Nebraska and Iowa that definitely are peaceable journey states. So if you're aware of something just in traveling by car, I know there are some states that have a requirement of notification, like if you get pulled over by a traffic officer, you are required by law to tell them that you have a firearm. I think, and this is just a personal opinion, I think the easy way to go on that is simply, present that with your driver's license so that it's not an issue and you don't have to worry what state am I in. At least for his situation. But if you have something that you know of that you think some young person ought to know, please put that in the comments so I can pass that along. It'd be greatly appreciated. I've checked handgunlaws.us. I've also checked, which is another source, some wiki stuff. But I also like to use, the sources that I know here on the listeners of this channel, as well as those over on gun channels that have been excellent sources throughout the years now in all things guns, whether it's, assisting me in how to put together my first AR-15 or helping me try to figure out trips that I've taken in the past, or assisting me in deciding what sort of training classes I may or may not, want to consider taking. It's, so that gun channels for me is a resources for multiple things gun related. And so that's why I wanted to present this out there. So with that, thank you. And if you have any comments, like I said, go ahead and put them out there, and I'll give them a read. So did I put everybody to sleep?
Oh no, I was interested in a question on the YouTube side there, but you're waiting for a lag now.
I know Cycle Camp mentioned generally not a good idea to get too far off the interstates. I agree. The two areas that he definitely does want to see is he wants to see the Grand Canyon, and he does want to see get some exposure to some of the Western national parks. Now he's generally going to be staying, in hotels, not on the side of the road in a sleeping bag. But I think you're absolutely right, Cycle Camp, in that regards. With the exception of going to something that you specifically want to see.
So, I bought one of them national park passes. You know what I'm talking about?
I know that you had talked about yours. That's all I'm familiar with in general.
I was going to see
Does that get you into all of them then?
Well, it gets you into, where does it say here? I thought there was a list here that tells you everything. Basically, everything run by the federal government. This is a list of them. But I thought there was like I had to do a year one, and it was $80. That might be a little costly, considering if he's only going to have the opportunity to go past 4 or 5 places, $10 a night. It doesn't add up. So is that what an annual runs is 80? It was either 80 or 90, but it was substantial. And I thought though that they had like a 6-month one or like a 1-month one or something. I'm looking here of course it's a government stupid website, so it's not.
What's it called? Federal parks, or what's it?
Well, there's different passes. It's called an annual pass. Interagency annual pass is what they call it. There's some frequently asked questions about it. Yeah, anyway, didn't mean to waste your time. But anyway, I was just thinking that's a thing. What about automotive insurance? Has he got AAA?
Yes. In fact, we got that all straightened out yesterday in regards to the car, roadside assistance, and the car that he's got a relatively low mileage car that he'll be taking out there.
If you got AAA or Good Sam, the AAA one?
The one he has access to is one through his mother. This is his mother's car that he's taking out there.
Oh, well, I guess I was going to ask because I used my AAA one just maybe a week ago or something to go onto their stupid website, which sucks, trying to do their route mapping. Because remember back in the olden days before the internet, you would be a member at AAA because of their awesome route stuff. They would send you maps where they highlighted the routes for you and stuff. So I went there to see if they had an electronic version of that was any better than a year or so ago when I tried to use it before, and it was shitty. And it's still it's not good. But it lets you record a bunch of stuff for no point. You can't do anything once you've recorded a bunch of stuff. It doesn't let you print them out really. So anyway, it does let you get maps. That's what I was going to say. Depending on what service you got, you might be able to get actual printed maps for nothing. I just requested 9 of them, maximum, and they just came in the mail a couple of days later.
Right.
So I don't know if that's worth doing then, just having those. I mean, they don't take up much space. Or one of them big road atlases, those big books.
Yeah. Unfortunately, since this literally, came up at the last minute, was there availability? He usually, doesn't have the opportunity to take his vacation all at once. And there were a couple of projects that ended up going in different direction, that there was going to be a gap in his workflow, that this suddenly was an option for him. So it literally came up, from a Friday to a Monday morning. so there wasn't a lot of time to do a lot of footwork, and so to speak, in regards to mailing for maps, and because there's a lot of free stuff that's available.
Yeah, it's true.
I got all my maps I got for free for like going to Wanamaker Gun Show. I got all this Missouri map, the Oklahoma map. Got all that for free by writing to to each state's an email to each state's tourism board.
Was that pretty fast? Like you wrote to them and you got it in the mail real quick?
It was anywhere between 2 weeks and about a month.
That's a long time. You'd think they'd be right away with that kind of thing. But that is a good idea because they're wasting their money printing them. Why not ship them to you? It's cheaper than running facility you may or may not even stop at. So that's a great idea, actually.
Because the state can do it right online. I mean, costs me nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And it costs them less money. Like I'm saying, to run a station that you may not even stop at, they're running that thing 24/7 and you don't even know if you're going to stop there. It's way more efficient to just send you a map. So what I was going to say is that the state maps a lot of times will have, I don't know, points of interest and stuff that the big maps don't bother with, or you know what I mean? Like they might be have a museum on there that doesn't cut the standard for like the national map companies or whatever.
Right. Now, something else I'm just interested, both of you guys here as well as the audience, is with the advent of smartphones, there's not necessarily an absolute need for a dedicated GPS unit. But in the last couple of trips I've taken, both out to Oklahoma as well as down to Tennessee, I've not used the dedicated GPS that I have. But what are your thoughts?
I disagree 100%. When I drove from Arizona to Washington, D.C. and back, that took 20 days, and we got about from Arizona to like Oklahoma maybe, so barely 2 to 3 days into it. No, it was a little bit later. But anyway, we ended up buying one at a truck stop because 2 reasons. One, if it's GPS mapping you, then you got to keep flipping back and forth to do anything else. And then if it's GPSing all the time, it's got to be plugged in all the time, so it's just cooking that thing. Like your phone is just cooking the whole time, no matter what time of year it is, and it's just plugged in and cooking all the time because it's running full blast. And then thirdly, it's just the multitasking. I like having the main one suction cup somewhere, so much nicer. And when they're dedicated GPS, it's just one job. It does one thing. It's GPSing you. So if it's like, I want to stop and get Long John Silver's, you just start talking in Long John Silver's, and it tells you where the 3 are on your way to where you're going. I mean, it just does its job. And mine was $100, so I think it's worth having a separate unit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. Like I use my main dedicated GPS all the time, and then if I'm in a city and want to find something specific, I'll then tell my phone, find me this specific, because I find the phone's a little more exact for that. But yeah, out in the highway and when you're getting on the interstates and going through all those spaghetti twists that are freeways, dedicated GPS is way better.
And then, like Bob said, have them compete with each other and verify each other and compete with each other. That's another
redundancy. Yeah. Nothing else. It's redundancy.
Right.
Last thing you want is your phone to puke on you in the middle of a big city while you're going through a freeway trying to figure out how to get through the city to get to the next place. Because you try read a map in freeway traffic at 80 miles an hour. It's no fun.
Well, but what I like about a map, a real piece of paper, is that you can spread it out when you're not driving. And you can really get spatial relationships. And maybe we all grew up on maps, so maybe it's different for us. But
yeah,
the stupid phone thing is a little magnifying glass window of a real map. I like being able to see the whole peripherals and see the whole damn map, get a real good idea of okay, it's going to be this far to here. This took me 8 hours to drive, and I got to go a little bit less or a little bit more. You get a lot more idea of what you're doing in the overall with a real map when you're not driving. But when you're driving, I think, the art of folding a map up so that it's that one size, that the same size as when it's folded up, but you got the piece in front of you that's, pertinent. And then you really got the shit if you're like a pilot and you're used to being 2 steps ahead. you've got it folded in a way that when you get to whatever edge you're driving towards, you just flip it and you're keep going. So I learned from my grandpa, who was a pilot, all about just, having your resources handy. And this was way before GPS. So even with a highlighter and your line on there, even a spaghetti map you can put on your knee and have a pretty good idea where the hell you are in a foreign land.
Yep. Yeah, I carry one of those, like they're kind of like an atlas, and then you just
the huge books. I always keep an eye out ever since I was a kid at truck stops, because last year's Atlas is like $1. This year's Atlas, $14.95.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then there's the roads don't change that fast. It takes 10 years for them to put an overpass in.
Sometimes what changes is who's advertising on it, which truck stop paid for an ad, and that kind of stupid shit. It don't matter.
That's true.
All right. So what else? Dang, there was something else that I was just thinking. Oh, dash cam. You giving him your dash cam? Is he buying his own dash cam for this trip? I think dash cam.
Actually, it's kind of ironic. Is I'm haven't quite this afternoon, and again, it's because this has all happened at the last second. I was taking my time setting mine up, and mine is like 90% set up, and I was going to actually do some test runs with my dash cam tonight.
Do that and then give it to him. So go test it out, get familiar with it so you can explain it all to him so he's not totally fresh with it. And then he can give you feedback on it after a couple of days, right? And then you're just without it. You've been without it for your whole life up till now. I think we just figured that out. And then you'll have dash cam footage. You just have him upload all that to the cloud, and then you basically are with him. You'll be able to monitor his entire trip.
Mm-hmm.
We just solved your problem, Dano.
All right.
So seriously, are you going to give him your webcam? Because I'm really thinking, now that I've been playing with this webcam, now that I can see how neat it is, I would highly encourage it for $100. I mean, I've spent way more than $100 for other stupid things for my vehicles before. For $100, I'm hoping I'm never in another accident ever. But man, is that going to be neat to have, footage, or better yet, what if something happens in front of you and you can either help out or, help a friend maybe, oh, that guy did open his door into you or something, I just think it's neat having a camera running all the time. We got the technology. It's only $100 away.
Yeah. Well, I have a little bit of a dilemma because I can't find my traditional GPS that I have. I mean, it's only about 3.5 years old, but I can't find where I put it. And I was going to give it to him.
The GPS?
Yes.
What's his money situation like? He's swimming in money, right?
Oh, yeah.
So can he afford a $100 GPS is what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, of course he can.
Because I'm thinking just have him buy another GPS. Worst that happens.
And that's an option too.
Huh?
It just, it's all, and then he has to learn how to use it in the next 3 days, along with the dash cam.
You're 100% right, and there is definitely some advantage in learning your shit ahead of time. But then on the other hand, he's going to have all kinds of time to get intimate with his GPS in the next couple of days, right? So he'll figure it out pretty darn quick.
Yeah.
But
I just, and it's just a parental thing. I just don't want him figuring out as he's going in and around a major metropolitan city.
That's true. And if he's familiar with his phone, I mean, big deal. So unless he's planning on going on lots of road trips, maybe he'll agree with us that it was a waste of time, or maybe he'll agree with you that it would have been a waste of money to buy a GPS. So.
And the one thing I guess I had mentioned is he's taking this trip completely on his own. There will be nobody with him.
Well, right on. So I just wouldn't give him a 3-year-old GPS. Mine's older than that, and it is super shitty. I would not use my GPS.
No, I can get an updated map, a current map for it.
Oh, all right. Well, I'd still say
it's a Garmin, and they're pretty good about updated maps.
Okay. I never tried to update my map. Maybe I should try update my map, and maybe I wouldn't be so mean about my GPS being stupid. All right. Well, I know we've been tackling a lot of the geek stuff, but anything else that you wanted to address?
Yeah, that pretty much wraps up at this moment. If something else, if I forget something or he has another question, I'll bring it up in tomorrow's show. So thanks a lot.
Do you know if there is going to be a means of self-protection?
There will be more than one.
because there's those metal boxes with a cable on it that are like $25 retail. You know what I'm talking about? That are meant to fit into like suitcase or underneath your front seat of your car, and they're like a locked clamshell basically with either a key or a combo, and then they've got like a heavy cable.
Yes.
That's
I have one.
So are you going to give them one of those? So they're like $25 retail,
Yeah.
almost everywhere.
Yeah, he's
I would say what happens to us, this happens to us, like, I don't know how many times this happened to us, because I think I have 4 or 5 of those stupid things. And I know the other guys have them too, because we always forget that to bring them. And then we go somewhere and we're like, dang it, like now we're in Vegas and we need to leave our guns somewhere. So we all run into a gun shop and buy another one for $25 and then have another one. So I ended up using them for other things, you know, my wallet or a camera even, because they're pretty decent size. Plus, I figure you put like 4 underneath your seat, even if the criminal's got wire cutters, he's going to be like, shit, which one do I grab?
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we'll move on.
Yep, we'll kind of transition out of that. Do you want to go into state of the state or something else?
Well, did you already talk about Utah?
Well, I mean, I didn't talk about it to the general viewers as far as all the other aspects of Utah.
All right, so we'll do the state of the state every day. Every Tuesday, we've been doing like the general state of the state of CCW for each of the states, and today's Utah.
Yep. And Smeg is not here today. He usually does things that are in process in the legislation right today, but I'm going to go ahead and do the state of the current affairs of Utah. And if any of you listening happen to catch any mistakes, please go ahead and put a comment out there, because I'm much more interested in getting good information out. But we'll go ahead and start. In regards to, there is no state permit required to purchase. There is no firearm registration. There are no assault weapons laws. There is no owner license required, which is what a FOID card is, a firearm owner's identification card. There is a permit required to carry for both long gun and handgun. It says carry of a loaded firearm or concealed firearm allowed with permit. May open carry unloaded firearm without permit. May carry loaded handgun in vehicle without permit. Loaded long guns in vehicles prohibited. Okay, and as of 2004, may carry at public universities. That's nice. If open carry, as I mentioned, for both long guns and handguns, they do have state preemption of local restrictions. There is no NFA weapons restrictions. They do have a shall issue in regards to carry. Shall certify within 15 days, and that's really nice. My state, as an example, which is shall issue, is shall issue within 90 days. So to have narrowed down to 15 is really nice. Peaceable journey laws, they do comply with that, which is nice. And they do respect, or do have, their variations of castle doctrine laws, as well as stand your ground. And there is no background checks required for private sales for either long guns or handguns. And that is the state of Utah. So
I'm thinking when you mentioned that one about the schools, carry in schools.
Yes.
If I remember correctly, and I might not be because I'm not 100% accurate, but from what I remember, that was a tragedy. That was something that happened in a school, and instead of going anti, they went with this is a result of the prohibition of guns, and then changed the law to allow carry so that it's no longer advantageous or no longer, better odds for the bad guy to, go to a place like a school. So I think that's a great, if I'm correct on that, then that's a great example of taking a bad situation that some individual created, and instead of just letting the agenda be driven by the whatever, they actually went the other way with it and took it to be, to the more freedom, the repeal of infringements.
Mm-hmm.
But you expect that from Utah. They're pretty self-reliant people.
Right. That's they're a big part of their history.
So you got to figure, even though there's probably only about 15 people that don't live in Salt Lake City, that's got to be frustrating for all the people that don't live in Salt Lake City, because everybody assumes everybody in Utah is Mormon, right? I assume everyone who lives in Utah is.
Right. And so before we, do you have anything else on Utah?
I don't know anything else. I carried there. I've carried in there.
I have something that just crossed my mind going back to the previous subject, and that was in regards to tolls and tollways. I know you've taken a number of trips to California as well as in and around the Southwest. Are tolls and tollways a fairly common thing?
No,
outside of Arizona?
No, we don't even have them in Arizona. I forgot that they exist until 2012 when I went back east, because they don't exist out here.
Right. I mean, they're in Illinois, and of course, going east of Illinois, they exist in most states in one form or another.
Oh yeah, I know. It's crazy. Yeah, there's one in Oklahoma. That's the one I've had to deal with the most in my life, and since I've been, on my own. But there are some in California, but you can not take them. And then, there's one in Oklahoma for some reason, between Oklahoma City and Tulsa. They charge you to go down that road, and then I think it's between like Tulsa and Missouri. They charge you to go down that road. Or is it?
And, the ones that you've been on, are they all have the availability to use cash or credit card?
Oh snap! That's a great point. I have no idea. Probably not. And no, they suck. So they're all robots and they're all broken, right? Because everybody nowadays has these little robot ball sacks on their windshield that you pay for like once a year or something. So whenever, in fact, damn it, I was supposed to get one of them from somebody, because I forget about toll roads. Like I said, they don't exist out here. We're not fascists and we're not communists. So we just drive on the roads because the roads are libertarian out here. Mm-hmm. So I forgot about them. And as I was planning for the trip, people from back east told me, oh, I'll give you my little robot ball sack that you can put on your windshield, and then that way you can just blow through the tollways, because that's how they work now, I guess. But you're talking to the wrong person. Like I say, I totally forgot about them.
Right.
Bob, what about it? Did you have to go through tollways? He's pretty cheap. I bet you he would just stop, back up.
Yeah, I paid one or two of them, and then some I threw Canadian quarters in because I didn't have any American quarters because I didn't know what a tollway was.
Throwing like beer bottle caps in there. Like, I don't know your dimensions.
No, I mean, it's a quarter. They wanted money. I threw money into a basket. I don't know. Seems like extortion to me.
But were they all available as far as you could, if you had cash change?
Yeah, if you had change, they all seemed to work. They all worked. Otherwise, and there was one I didn't have change. I just kind of went, oh well, and drove through.
Excuse me, do you mind leaving me to my business until I'm done with this urinal?
Probably, at least in Illinois, 30 years ago is when they put the wooden gates, which of course you could drive through and brake, but you might also crack a headlight.
Yeah, no, they didn't have gates or anything. It was like I'm sure they took cameras of my license plates, and I'll get a ticket in the mail or something.
Yeah. I'm sure once they saw Canada, they said, well, let them go.
Well, yeah, they probably did. They probably just went, never find them.
What states you were in when you did happen to see a toll?
Texas, New Mexico. Was it New Mexico? I don't know, somewhere in there.
There's none in New Mexico. It's Tulsa, or it's Oklahoma.
Tulsa. Yeah, Oklahoma. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe Texas. I don't know.
Now, somehow when I was in Tulsa, I luckily managed to never find the toll. That's been the angle I came in at.
Exactly. Cyclists saying there's always a way around them.
Yeah, well, there should be. Now, what I need is, does the GPS do that? Can you tell your GPS, take me around where there's no toll roads?
Yes.
Well, then just do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the same function on my phone. I can tell my phone to avoid tollways.
So right now it's the top of the hour if you're listening to us live. So Ghost Tactical is going live.
Now that was professional.
not paying us. I can't help if I gag right in the middle of this thing. So, not gag.
That also explains why his screen looks the way it does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Let me wipe the screen clear with my hand.
Shoot! Oh, shoot!
We ain't one of them fancy podcasts that we don't just decide to eat a bunch of peanuts in the middle of.
You know,
That's right.
who needs Windex when you have a squeegee?
Uh-oh. So,
Really, you can get little tiny squeegees that would work pretty good on a computer screen.
have we talked about the fact that I'm probably going to get my own squeegee? I made up my mind. I went to the last, because now that I got my dash cam, it's ultimately critical for me. It's not for me. It's for the future, because my dash cam is taking important footage. So I want to keep my windshield as clean as possible at all times. So I get out there and I clean my thing. And the last one I went to, I had to go to every single pump just to find one. And it's like they went out of their way to make this thing the shortest possible. Like there's no possible even use for this thing. The wood barely extended out of the freaking metal part of the squeegee.
Yeah.
It was like comical. And that was like, that's it. I'm getting my own fancy squeegee. So I have
I've always carried my own because, well, up here you get them with a snow brush on one side and a squeegee on the other. So when you got, just snow on your windshield and it's melting because your heater's going, you can just squeegee it off, keep your window clean.
I got in the car. It was all ice, and I'm like, I'm only going to go to the gas station, so I'll just let the defroster run when I get to the gas station. It's only across the street, so I scraped the tank turret scrape that I could barely see out of, and that was like my first accident.
Yep.
And for some reason, it was 100% my fault.
Yeah, I wonder why.
So ever since then, I've decided it's worth scraping your windows first.
Yeah, it's a real good idea. Although I put a remote starter in my truck so that I could just start the truck and be sitting in the house, and then once it was all warmed up, I could just shovel the snow off the front hood that was piled up too high to see over, and then run the windshield wipers. They'd just wipe that melted snow off, and away you go.
Home of the Brave is asking if this is Dano's last day. It's Thursday. It's not Thursday today. Thursday will be his last day.
Although I was kind of wondering, is he wishing it was today?
Well, we are intending to have a little going away party for him, yeah. So everybody can watch for that. What will we do to Dano when he leaves? Tradition at my work was always something like, we'd take their car and forklift it up onto a big stack of lumber or something so they couldn't get at it when they went to leave for their on their final day, or wrap it in shrink wrap or something fun like that. So I'm trying to figure out how we can do that online.
Well, we're definitely not going to do something that would waste a bunch of show resources, like wrapping it in all our shrink wrap.
Oh, please.
Shrink wrap don't grow on trees, Bob.
We've been saving this paycheck for the past 10 months, and now we're going to spend it on hookers and blow. Just kidding. We don't do that here at the Daily Gun Show.
Yeah, you're at the wrong show. That ain't happening. So, where are we at? The state of Utah.
Yep, I think we took care of that.
Squib, is our featured Gun Channels member of the day, sent in, it looks like, a thing for a place called Accurate Fire.
That should be in the email.
So can you open that up?
Oh, God, I couldn't do it.
We're going to make your work right to the last minute.
I mean, you could have told me at the beginning of the show, by the way, when we get to this part, could you open it up so we could screen share?
Wait, you needed the whole hour and a half? I mean,
all right, I'll do it then. So then
I can do it. It's just I'm just not ready.
Well, I don't have the email. I have the website. But anyhow, this came in from Squib. We appreciate it. We do like to feature a gun shop every single day. That's one of the reasons we started doing the show. What episode are we? 387.
Well, his website. Why did you need me to? Never mind.
I thought you said there was pictures that Squib took in the email. If we're just looking for the email address, I don't need you. But I thought you said there was pictures in the email. That I use a different browser, so I can get that open. Anyhow, we appreciate the sending us the link. We do like to feature a new website every day. And as much as we're going to be driving around looking at shops, you know, I'm only going to be able to go to as many states as I can go to.
I want to see the well-armed woman.
Okay.
I found it. Smeggy put it in a sub-menu.
Like he told us he was going to. So this one is in.
We're doing an accurate range of the firearms.
It's called Accurate Firearms.
Okay.
So this one's in Michigan. I wouldn't normally have a chance to check it out, and I would have to drive for quite a while, and Bob wouldn't be able to get there either. So we do appreciate the viewers sending in stuff to let us know what these shops are like. Now, in the email there you're looking at, Dano, does he have pictures that he took of the shop, or is it just the link?
Yes. Let me first just read what he has here. It says
I didn't know people in Michigan spoke English.
He says, I purchased 2 firearms from them and rented their range for my older son's birthday. Started out in part of the building next to the current location. A few years back, they expanded into a bigger store with a broader selection. They also built a separate building behind their store as a shooting range. Accurate Firearms offers Michigan CPL classes as well as private instruction. They have a tactical pistol league, and they host the Oakland County chapter of the Well-Armed Woman. And then I have some pictures to share here shortly.
Well-armed women in bikinis?
Let me do this and do that and find that. Okay, let me.
Still going to be Texas.
Okay.
They're not wearing bikinis, but
okay, y'all see
cool to see women shooting.
Yep, he's still being Texas.
All right, August is 6 Hour Month. And then here we see the outside of the store, so they got their own building. That's nice. See there, Albert, 7 days a week. Oh, man, this has got to be G-Web's favorite store.
Not my favorite, but that's a capitalist organization that wants to be in business. They want to cater to their customers' needs. All their
7 days a week.
All their customers.
Wow. Yeah. They're probably slave drivers. They probably keep some Chinese people in the back room to work on the weekends.
I see some ARs, AKs, handguns. Got some scopes, some uppers.
Nice.
Got some lever actions just for you, Bob. Lever
properly.
And then we got some nice looking black guns with a couple of levers on top.
Yeah. Well, those are all kind of what would be assault rifles, right?
Look at all those Kel-Tecs in 2000s. A pile of them.
Yep. And you got P-Mags, oh plenty. That's.
But they don't make those for good guns.
You got some Kimber mags.
That's a nice looking shop. Nice job, Squib.
Yeah, nice.
You're lucky.
A lot of stuff.
1911s.
It's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Got a, looks like it's a skeletonized. I can't tell if that's a 1911 or if that's a Deagle on the bottom.
That gold Desert Eagle with the gold titanium tiger stripe.
Yep.
That would be a Desert Eagle.
Yep. Now we got a closer view of it. Just to show you all the prep I put into this by
You really are getting old, aren't you, Dano?
And then we got some more traditional guns. Close up on the 1911s.
Dano's aging in dog years.
STIs. Well, those suckers are expensive. It's about $1,200. There you go. Got some guns for Bob. Bird's head revolvers. Ooh, there you go. You getting excited? Look at those 2 revolvers at the bottom.
Yeah, barrels are kind of long for concealed carry.
Bob's a snob. You got to be in a certain range, and then he thinks they're obnoxious.
Yeah.
Look at all them 1911s.
Yeah, they do have a boatload of 1911s. I'll give them that.
You would think in a state where so many people wear mittens, so Pants is asking if Dano's leaving the show because he's being sent on a covert mission. If we were to answer that question, then how would you ever believe the answer?
Exactly. They even got hearing protection.
Well, they got a range. Makes sense.
Yep. Gun slick. Gotta keep it lubed and ready to go. Got some bolt action hunting rifles. Team Glock. It's got a lot of pictures here.
Mm-hmm. What's neat about pictures like this one, one of the projects is, and I'm assuming it's okay with everybody, leave us some notes. I'm assuming if you sent these to us, you expected us to share them. But with one of the secondary ways we're going to use the content that you're creating here is to post some of these on our gun show or our gun shop website, where we have a list of gun shops that we visited, and we're going to include shops like this because these pictures are super useful. Not only are they just super interesting to see how the guns are arranged, right? I mean, we've all been in different shops where, like these, I'd sort of call them organized chaos. There's none of them on top of each other. Nothing's getting scraped or jostled, right? You can tell the employees can still get to everything. You can read all the price tags, yet they're using every square inch of the case. Then there's those shops where it's all neatly organized, and then there's those shops where it's ultimate chaos and everything in between, right? So I think it's just really neat to be able to see this many pictures of a shop, because you really get a flavor for how the shop is. And if you ever visit it in the future, you can see how it's changed or whatever. But then just to compare it with other shops that are out there, I think it's just super neat. And then the secondary part of it is because most of the phones nowadays are huge, right? As far as their cameras go, I bet you if we were to enhance in on some of those price tags, we'd see some photograph or some prices. So I think that's a secondary kind of result you get out of this, is that years down the road, people can take a look at some of these photos and go, oh, look at how much things cost back then, or remember those good old days, or wow, I can't believe they paid that much.
Right. Now in this picture here, there's maybe just over a dozen suppressors. Now for places that carry suppressors, is that common or uncommon, that amount of suppressors?
That quantity?
Yeah.
I'd say that's medium. Most of the places that I've seen sell suppressors are just getting into it, or maybe out, because sometimes it's difficult to obtain them. So I've seen them typically in the couple, 5 or less, and then in this dozen or so, and then a store that's in it for the long run, like dozens and dozens and dozens of everything. So I've seen most of them in this range where they've got a dozen to 2 dozen. Okay. Suppressors are one of those things that you're going to see it kind of consistent because of the stupid ass regulations based on the stupid 1934 National Stupid Firearms Act. So it requires, of course, all the background check bullshit and the $200 tax stamp. And because of that massive bureaucracy and infringement and the lack of, rightfully so, or at least justified lack of streamlining of the process, there's a ton of time involved. So what used to, from my understanding, what used to take just no time at all. In fact, you could do it over the phone. In fact, when I started interviewing people for, whatever I do online here, back in the day when I would talk to manufacturers and they would tell me the process of creating, let's say, a suppressor. They would decide they wanted to make a suppressor and get all the materials together, create a suppressor, put a serial number on it, and then let the ATF know that had taken place. That could be a phone call, or it could take a day or two, or it could take a week. But rarely to take any amount of time because there just wasn't that many people making that many suppressors. And then the end of the assault weapons ban changed things. Now people could have stuff, and they figured out that if they can have some stuff, then they want it shorter and they want it quieter, right? And those are the still things we can do after the Hughes Amendment. So you had a rise in demand for all those things, and a rise in people meeting the demand. They didn't know what was going on. So all that stuff changed the time it takes for the internal, the manufacturers they still have to do registration. It's just that they don't have to pay anything for it, and it typically was faster. But as soon as there was not only manufacturers making a lot more suppressors, it was SBRs, but there was also more manufacturers making SBRs and suppressors. And when you got more new manufacturers, you get more people learning the process and making mistakes, and you get more errors, and you get more delays from even processors that know what they're doing. As you get more demand, you also need more processors on the infringing jackboot government side. So that means their idiot newbies are making mistakes because they're newbies and they got complicated government infringement forms to fill out. So it's just a chaotic mess when you're talking about getting the product into your store. And then we're not even talking about when the customer buys it and has to get it. We're talking about the manufacturer creating them and getting them to the store. That used to take days, and now it takes months sometimes because there's so many of them. So that's the kind of thing with suppressors. It's not like buying a gun where you can say, send me 35 guns out of your inventory. It's more like, how many guns or how many suppressors do you think you'll make next year? Do you think I could get 5? And then the guy makes 3, so you're able to get 3 in the store. You know, it's not like, hey, just send me 12 suppressors.
Right. And now in this current picture, I found what looks to me like a very unusual looking gun, this two-tone gun. I don't know if you can see me kind of waving my mouse at it.
The Chris Vector.
Oh, is that what that is?
Uh-huh.
I just didn't recognize
probably a rifle. So I'm guessing that the first thing is just a spacer that's in the same shape as the silencer co. What is that, a Sparrow or whatever, Osprey?
Oh, it's got it already on it. That's why.
Well, it's got a suppressor on the end of the barrel, but because it's not an SBR, it's an actual rifle. It would normally have like the dumbass Uzi looking rifles, or like those Scars with the barrel sticking way the hell out for no reason, and then a can hanging out. I think they just put that extra sleeve on there to give it a consistent profile with the can. Gotcha. So it's just a sleeve over the barrel, I bet. Not a super long suppressor, because it's only a 45 ACP. It's almost suppressor ready.
And we got Galco holster line. Nice line of ARs.
That's kind of neat. Isn't it neat just to walk into a store that's got an assortment like that, just so you can like be in its presence for a bit and like just have the opportunity to browse through, mosey on through, and actually just, you know, comparatively see the differences next to each other. You know, seeing carbine length, rifle length, mid length is one thing, but being on a rack like that where you can even pick them up, it's like, that's pretty cool. That's an opportunity right there.
Yeah. They're not jammed so close together that you can't really see what's there.
Yeah, exactly. You can pick one up. You don't have to worry about stressing out that you're going to hurt something or knock something else over. I mean, unless it doesn't seem like anything you said makes, you know, they'd be hovering over your shoulder worrying about it. It looks like that's a very comfortable store to like get a lot of not just an experience, but a knowledge out of, right? You can leave a store like that knowing more about those guns than you did when you walked in.
Right.
You don't get that on the stupid internet.
Very true.
We should boycott the internet. Not YouTube, but the rest of the internet.
Yeah, and then we'll just maybe use shortwave radios.
Hold on.
Or even better, pigeons.
That one is definitely a duplicate. I remember those shotguns.
And this is the end of the slideshow.
Okay. That was a lot of slides, and that's awesome. Like I say,
that was 42 pictures he sent us.
We're going to do a couple of things. Like I say, we're going to feature them on the show like this. One of the things I'm going to try to do, if I have time or get some people to help out with these tasks, is to chop out these portions of the show. Because, again, one of the goals of this show is to promote local gun shops and to get people aware of the fact that we are a massive amplifier as individuals walking into gun shops every day. We have the ability to really help those gun shops out in an amazing way just by sitting around bullshitting like this or about it. So I really do want to encourage that. So to do that, I'm thinking as a project, right, as a goal, we're going to try to chop the gun shop reviews out of each show. So technically, we probably have over 300 gun shop reviews. You know, even if we have some duplicates in there, we're probably talking 200 plus. You know, individual separate gun shop reviews between Bob and I, you guys and our guests, and then all the people that have contributed. All right, take it easy, Dano. So anyway, I'm going to hope to have some people help out, because obviously that'd be a lot of work, but it's a cool project, I think, to pull out the gun shop reviews and then just post those as individual videos. So people that are looking to get some reviews of gun shops can just get right to them in a couple of minutes. They take instead of the whole 90 minutes of show that they have to, dig through to find it. Anyway, so I don't think I need to screen share anymore. We'll move on. That was our gun shop of the day. Thanks again to Squib for sending that in. And again, we encourage anybody to participate in that aspect of the show. Our email is dailygunshow@gmail.com. Next up is La France Pistolabra. What is this? Frenchy pistol?
Yes, it is a Frenchy pistol. It is the La France 32 ACP pistol. Française. It's basically a French 32 ACP. It was made in other calibers. I mean, you can get it 9mm.
It looks like every picture of it, it's falling apart. It's in some state of falling apart.
No. It's actually a really good pistol. It's got some really neat pieces in it. It's
why can't the barrel stay in? How come every picture of the barrel is hanging out?
Every time you drop the magazine, the barrel will flip forward. So when you pop a new magazine in, you can just pop another round in, slam that down. Now you've got a fully loaded one in the chamber, and because it's double action only, it's quite safe. It's a striker fired. And
no, that's a lot. That's a lot like that new big, because every time you drop it, the round pops out.
Yeah, well, this one doesn't pop out the barrel. But like I say, it's a really interesting, quite unique, and very long production life pistol. I mean, it went for years and years. Produced right from the beginning of the First World, or it was started to be produced at the First World War. First World War interrupted production. After the First World War, it was then produced, I think, up until the 50s or 60s even. But yeah, you can get 32 ACP, 25 ACP, even 9mm. So yeah, very interesting, and quite a, you look at it, it's a perfect pocket pistol. It's got no hammer on it. It's got nothing to snag. Like I say, double action only. It's a nice trigger. Well, for double action only.
Is this a safety on it, or just like a takedown?
Oh, that little lever, that actually pops up the barrel.
Okay. But there's no safety, then just striker fire?
Yep, just straight striker fire.
All right. I don't like the 9mm one, but I'll say all right.
Well, it makes it in 25 ACP. That's one of your calibers you like.
Yeah, the 22 I don't think I would like, but in 25, but honestly, 25 is probably pretty anemic for this. Seems like a pretty big gun.
And 32 ACP, which was a good little round.
That'd probably be the round, because it was created by Browning, which means it's more effective than the stupid 9mm.
Well, and you look at this. This is like this was almost a gun that was almost designed for that 32 ACP in a sense when you look at it. Perfect round. It's a small pistol. I think it holds 7 in the magazine, so or 7 or 8 in the magazine. Maybe 8. Yeah, I think 8 in the magazine. So then you got 1 in the barrel, so it gives you 9. It's got it holds the slide back on your last round. So it's really a pretty unique and fairly modern for when it was built. So yeah, look at this, 13 to 69. I mean, that's a hell of a long production run for a little pocket pistol.
Well, I don't want to give much credit to that, but I think it is important to keep in mind that means that's a pistol that's in what most people would consider to be an anemic caliber. 22 long rifle, 25, even 32. Most people don't even consider those, right? Yeah. And that's a gun that, do we have any idea how many millions were made, did it say?
Oh, I don't know.
No, it doesn't, at least not in here. But anyway, 1969, like you're saying, 50-something years, almost 60 years. Yeah. That shows you that no matter what people want to suggest, you're actually really bad, Bob. No matter what people really want to suggest, they wouldn't be making those guns if they were losing money. They wouldn't be making those guns if they were death traps. They wouldn't be making those guns if they were being sold to murderers who slaughtered and went to jail. It's not like, a generation of people went missing because these guns existed. This was a bunch of people who were comfortable and confident in their guns and goings in France, I guess, up till the nuts. Like, I don't know. These were made right through the Nazis. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? This is a heck of a lot of instances where little old ladies and guys from, I don't know, walking home from work or whatever with some money in their pocket, like a lot of people kept a little tiny gun that were made for 50 something years. So while I don't want to give credit to the ruggedness of the design or anything, I don't think it's, you know, but it is
in some ways it is very, very,
well, it's a testament to the fact that little tiny gun is going to be demanded. So it doesn't matter if somebody thinks it shouldn't exist. Hundreds and hundreds, probably millions of people over the years wanted these things to exist, bought them, carried them around, you know, put them in a drawer. There millions of things exist or you know, like these. And anyway, I'd like to keep reminding people of that aspect of it, that let's not forget our history. We're not doomed to repeat it. We are able to use it as ammunition going forward. If they want to suggest to us that these things have no reason to exist, then all you got to do, Mr. Science, is explain to me why they did exist then, and how they hurt the world, because it seems like they existed and, you know, we're here. So they didn't end the world, and you can't just discount the fact that they were created. You can't discount the fact that people bought those. So anyhow, I think it's neat that
yeah, the left though is very, very good at rewriting history and destroying history. I mean, that's what they do, right? So the fact that there were all these guns out there, they're just going to say, "Oh, that was just because of this and this and this," and it was, you know, like, you know, it just, they'll just rewrite it. They'll just make it. No. These were, you know, they were just produced and thrown in the ocean or something. You know, just for the companies to make money. You know, it was capitalists.
well,
Yeah, so they come up with some kind of bullshit story.
but at least come up with that story. Make them think about it. Make them, you know, frame the conversation. Don't always react to the conversation. I guess that's an aspect of it. You know, let's use this as ammunition going forward, so that when they come with us with blah blah blah, we can just remember, oh, what about the millions of these little guns that existed in France? I don't remember you ever bringing up France as
Well, yeah. And do you remember hearing about all these murders in France because of all these little guns? No.
That's what I'm saying. But I'll bet you we got out of the dark ages and shit because rapists and murderers and shit didn't last very long when women were shooting them back, you know, shooting them for doing their weird shit. You know, so they probably got us out of a lot of bad situations just in alleys. You know?
You know, how many, women, and they wouldn't even talk about it because, you know, maybe they shouldn't have been where they were or something, right? But they'd just go, you know, some guy tried to get fresh with me, so I just pulled up my little pistol and said, "Do you want to lose those?" And yeah, and it was just never something that, you know, you even talked about. So. All right. So where are we gonna go from here? We went to the little gun. I think it's a really cool little gun, and like I say, there's a good point about it. You know, that there's millions of these out there. They were built for a really long time, and you know, I have never ever heard of the, you know, in France at one time it was like the Old West, right? Which it should have been with all these millions of guns.
Oh, there you go. The better analogy for these probably be like the gangster days. It's not like there was a St. Valentine's Day French version because of everybody had a little 22 or 25 ACP in their pocket.
Yeah, that's right. And it was, you know, and well, that had a lot to do with because they didn't have prohibition. Prohibition can be blamed for a lot of the whole gangster stuff and the gun laws that came out of it. So anyway, now we've discussed that little gun and the ramifications on the world. Let's carry on. We are running a bit over time here, so seeing Dano's not here, I'll just continue on with it. What about gun history today? What do we got?
Let's see. We already did that one. Damn it. All right. Well,
we've actually gone through things pretty good today.
Got that?
Got what? Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to. Oh, I don't know what we're doing here, but anyway. So you look at those little guns, you think those are great. What do we have today that's like that? Well, we know somebody here who collects those little silly guns, which were a lot like that, except I think these ones were probably better made than the Ring of Fire guns.
Well, okay, I was going to say, are you talking about like the little Derringers, or are you talking about like NAA?
Oh, no, I'm talking the Ring of Fire. The little Derringers are well made. They're just ridiculous.
Well, no, Derringer. I'm not talking about the little revolvers. I'm talking about literally little Derringers, the old Remington style Zamek Derringers and stuff.
Yeah, no, those can be well made. Not all of them were.
But then the Zamek ones are definitely differently made, because I don't want to say they're worse made, because they can do okay. You just gotta remember they're Zamek. I mean, as long as you remember they're Zamek and treat them such, they're gonna last fine. There's plenty of stories of people using those kind of guns for a long time, where the stuff from Europe was like pot metal and junk metal. It was metal, but it had like big, holes in it, and strength broke and stuff. They're not good made, and they were all semi-sloppy. You could get some that were made good, but then some of them were really sloppy.
Well, yeah, there was so many different manufacturers. Like you go to Spain, and there was this, like every street had a manufacturers for these little cheap handguns, and one shop might be right next to the other, and one shop produced good quality handguns. The other shop produced crap, and they might look exactly the same because they were all just ripping off, Browning Designs or whoever's, right? Whoever they figured they could sell. But that's what it is, right? It's kind of like High Point, right? Everybody slags on High Point, and from everything I've seen, yeah, they're ugly, they're heavy, they're stupid, they don't have much magazine capacity, but they work. Like, if that's what you can afford and it works, well, then I would rather buy something surplus that worked, or something used. But yeah, certainly they're cheap and they do work. So yeah, if you got to have yourself an automatic pistol instead of something like a nice 38 Smith & Wesson that's a piece of real fine machinery, go ahead. But be warned, it's not going to be as nice to shoot. But yeah, that's why I really got to get myself an old Smith. I really want one. But I keep thinking I should get a 357 because I already got a couple of those, so then I'll buy more ammo. Because personally, I think if I've got a choice between 357 and 38 Special, yeah, the 357 is a little bit more money, but why not use your gun to its full potential? Unless you're just letting a chick shoot it. That's why I have a 9mm cylinder for mine.
All right, well, I guess we're going to do gun history and movie of the day together, since today is the 20th anniversary of Skynet becoming self-aware.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, so Skynet. And again today I heard about how the big thing is self-driving cars. Like some pizza chain is now going to partner with Ford to make self-driving pizza delivery cars, which seems to me like a totally stupid idea. Because when you think of how many cars are on the road, oh my God, if the computer gets hold of those, God, I sounded like my daughter for a second. If the computer, Skynet, gets hold of controlling all those cars, we're dead, right? I mean,
no, not at all. Because if you get something like, I'm thinking of a science fiction movie everybody's seen, like the new Star Wars ones, where they show a lot of the new future cities, and the cars or the spaceships are flying around in like air highways at various stratospheres or whatever in different directions. That's all computers probably. And then what is it? The Fifth Element? Is that one where Bruce Willis is in it? And he's in that. Those kind of cars are all computers. Judge Dredd. I mean, that's when we start to make planets or cities the size of planets, we're going to have computers driving the cars, just because we're not going to want to waste all our time.
But the whole point is, like Skynet right now can't function because it doesn't have the weapons. It has some drones. It could probably.
All right, well, that's where we're going to stop a minute, and we're going to let Terminator explain this to us because.
Okay.
In 3 years, Cyberdyne will become the largest supplier of military computer systems. All stealth bombers are upgraded with Cyberdyne computers, becoming fully unmanned. Afterwards, they fly with a perfect operational record. The Skynet funding bill is passed. The system goes online on August 4, 1997. Human decisions are removed from strategic defense. Skynet begins to learn at a geometric rate. It becomes self-aware at 2:14 a.m. Eastern Time, August 29th. In a panic, they try to pull the plug.
Skynet fights back.
Yes, it launches its missiles against the targets in Russia.
Why attack Russia? Aren't they offensive?
Because Skynet knows that the Russian counterattack will eliminate its enemies over here.
Missiles?
Like the ones Korea launched over Japan?
Missiles. So our movie of the day is Terminator, one of the better Terminators ever, or one of the better movies ever made. It was made in 1984. This is what you got to be careful of today. If you see anything like this, run away. Don't harass the naked dudes.
Who would harass a naked dude that size anyway? Because I mean, they're hanging out in a park, and I'm thinking, okay, big giant naked guy walking towards me. Oh shit, he wants to have sex with me. I'm running. I'm running as fast as my old legs will move.
Okay.
Probably not fast enough, but I'm gonna try.
Did you ask who's gonna harass a big naked Terminator? A fucking space marine. That's who.
Couple cans short of a six-pack.
You're close.
Right, that is a space marine, isn't it?
Now.
Fuck you, asshole!
This is why you don't bring a bunch of switchblades to a robot battle. So just keep this in mind. Switchblades.
Oh yeah, but who can carry around a battle robot? I mean, really.
We all know there's lots of things that can take out this robot, and including a shotgun with stock sawed off of it. But here we're going to see what happens when a bunch of idiots try to take switchblades to a robot. And we all pretty much know what happens after that. So I guess it's possible for a human to be so myopic, so like oblivious as to not seeing Terminator. But do you think it's even possible that somebody doesn't know about Terminator?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know. I would think less of the world if people don't even. I mean, I think everybody has to at least know about Terminator. But maybe I'm wrong. But
yeah, but the thing is, they might not have ever seen the first one, so all I've ever seen is the other ones, and they that Terminator is the good guy, and because they all look the same.
I don't care about. No, I'm not talking about anything that specific. I mean, like my grandma or something. Like I know that there's people out there that are never going to watch a Terminator movie. They would hate it, and they would think that it's for kids or whatever. They would never even consider watching it. But the concept of robots running through time to fiddle with people before the robot wars, I think that concept is out there. And I'm not saying Terminator invented it or nothing. They just, in 1984, perfected it and let us know with plenty ahead of time warning that what was going to happen in 1997. So we basically knew it was coming.
Might that be why the nuclear thing hasn't happened? Is because maybe they saw the movie, the guys who work in the industry, in the defense industry, and went, oh, we're not doing that. And so they didn't do it. So now Skynet's been sentient, and it's sitting out there going, shit.
No, that's not at all.
And then it goes, whoa, wait a minute. Once all these cars are sentient and there's going to be all these drones flying around, I'm just going to grab control of them. And think about it, man. The highways in the first 2 or 3 days, millions and millions of people will be wiped out. And then, could you imagine trying to go anywhere if every car on the street's going to try, kill you?
Oh, that's a stupid Stephen King movie. So number one, Skynet doesn't need cars to do its dirty work. It's going to have Terminator robots for crying out loud. They don't need to run
They
around a
don't
car.
have them yet. They're still working on them.
All right, so that's what I'm saying. So 1997, it becomes self-aware 2 a.m. The Terminator just told us that, so we know it's the truth. Now, here's the thing. Like you said, they didn't expect that a stupid movie was going to be made in 1984 and blow it for Skynet. So it's holding off. So it's self-aware and everything. It's been like that for 20 years.
That's what I said.
Died. Well, but I'm saying it's because of the Terminator movie, though, that it screwed with it, and now its plans are off, and it's just.
And that's what I said. Is that the guys who worked in the defense industry saw the Terminator movie, went, "Oh shit, we're not going to turn our, you know."
No, I'm not saying that. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying Skynet said, "Oh, I could go nuts right now, but they know about me because of the movie. I'm not going to bother." You're saying it's the human beings that have the power, and we haven't put the arm.
I'm saying we just took some precautions, but now we've kind of, it's been 20 years, so now we're kind of like, well, it's not really going to happen. It would have happened if, So now we're all getting complacent, and we're going, oh yeah, let's have computer controlled cars. Let's have computer controlled airplanes. Let's have computer controlled everything.
We're not letting nothing. This is Skynet saying, yeah, they're complacent. They're getting their computer control.
Yeah. I know what's happening, man. That's why my vehicle doesn't have any kind of computer control. Screw that, man.
No, Bob's not even awake half the time. There's not even organic control of that vehicle most of the time.
True. I have had a nap for a couple of miles, or maybe
That's why Bob doesn't like highways. There's just no curb on a highway. If he can get just right on a short, like on a regular side, size side street, surface street, he can just get his tires right in the rut of the curb, and he can fall asleep. It's like autopilot.
Kind of. I let Charlie drive sometimes.
All right. So New Throne Clay is saying that Domino's will be delivering pizzas with Terminators in Michigan. I don't know. Do they call those hover things Terminators? Some of the nerds out there will have to know. I'm pretty sure them like hovering things ain't called Terminators. I think they're called something else. But I think they're called hunter killers, right? Or is that something else? I don't know. So, but yeah, they're going to be flying around in drones. I think that's inevitable. Until we get the tubes under the ground, it's going to be very much like the electric lines. When we first got electricity, everybody's like, we got to get electricity. Let's get it here as fast as possible. If it means through the air, great. But then we got sick of looking at electric lines because we don't need to look at them. They put them underground. We'll eventually get tubes, and robots that scurry around underground will bring us our pizzas.
Yeah,
but
big high-powered electric lines create electromagnetic fields, which can fuck people's, excuse my French, bodies up over time.
You mean because 60 hertz that the electric lines were built in is
the really high power ones, they do create a really noticeable magnetic field. We do know that a magnetic field is not good for plants or animals, like a powerful magnetic field all the time. So when you do have those power lines next to your house, it's not a good thing.
Yeah,
it can cause problems for sensitive people. I mean, not for most, but yeah.
Yeah, except for mammals, since 60 hertz is what our brainwave of.
Okay, you go grab onto 110 volts and have 60 hertz go through your heart and see how that feels.
Do you understand English? 60 hertz is the same wavelength as our brain waves. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, all right. Well, I wasn't sure you were agreeing. I thought you were saying that, that wouldn't be dangerous because it's the same as our brain waves.
All right. Well, so anyway, Skynet happened today, 20 years ago. Rest easy if you want at your own peril. You've had proof with the Matrix. You've had proof with Terminator. I don't know what other proof you might need. We had Korea shooting missiles. We just heard Terminator talk about missiles. I don't know why you're not already panicking.
Digging a hole in your backyard, man. That's what everybody should be doing.
You should at least be watching Terminator today. It is Tuesday.
Terminator Tuesday.
I would at least watch Terminator. I don't think it's worth watching all of them because they're not all that good. And there's too many of them. Because I don't know. I include the TV show as part of it all because of the Hot Terminator. And because it's just a little bit different. There's a lot of them. So there's like the whole original 3 or 4. And then there's the TV show. And then there's the new like mess that they put on the end. So by the time you're all said and done, there's probably like 7 movies or something, and 3 seasons, I think, of TV shows. I don't even know if there's cartoons or anything, but I think at least because of Skynet, I would at least oppose your robot overlords for taking some amount of Terminator today. I mean, think about it. When you're in robot prison and they're deciding whether to turn you into like pulp for the batteries or like leave you as an attacked human to be like a monkey for their dials or whatever, you probably would rather just stay intact, right? Instead of being pulverized. So you can use the fact that you watched Terminator on its birthday as a way to get in good with the robot overlords.
Yeah, well,
just saying.
You might also remember that it was 10 years ago, just about exactly 10 years ago today, Popular Mechanics put out a article and they explained how you could use conventional explosives to make a smaller EMP device, electromagnetic pulse device, which, you know, a big explosive one could take out a city, but if you just made a small one, I'm thinking, maybe out of pipe bombs, you could probably make an electromagnetic pulse device that would be like a hand grenade. You could just throw at them and would knock out the robots in the close vicinity.
I don't think that's the way to go. I think they're hardened against that because they're used to fighting maybe even themselves. Do we know if there's any kind of robot interwars?
No, robots don't disagree with each other because they all work on complete logic.
No, bullshit. There's Mac and
you're wrong. Yeah, robots are completely agreeable with each other.
Whatever. There's Mac and there's Windows, right? Those aren't compatible.
You think that there's going to be 2 factions of
Russia,
a Mac? What? The Mac Terminators going to paint flowers on themselves and be all like white and shiny, and the Terminator, the PC ones are going to be all in black shiny. Oh my God! It could be a movie.
Russia and the United States. You think they worked on the same freaking Skynet? No. 2 different Skynets. You think they talked to each other and became good friends? Why would you expect that? They are fighting for each other's resources. We had 2 individual Skynets potentially.
You've thought about this way too much, dude.
It's just common sense, Bob. This doesn't take any thought. This is simply common sense.
Okay. We'll go with that.
All right. So anyway, there might be robot battles. I'm just saying, I don't see Skynet, the most magnificent of all robot overlords, overlook at something like an EMP. I think that the way, if you were foolish enough as a human monkey to try to attack their robots, you would do it physically with their like hinges and stuff. Because no matter how strong or whatever, blah, 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 they're not magic. They're still science and they're still got physics, right? So you're going to go for their hinges, their hips, and their lines, right?
And
so
you need explosives to break them because they'll probably be made out of titanium.
No, see, that's where I think the sucker bet is. I think that you got to exploit their Achilles heel, so to speak, and it might be sharpshooter because we're going to have finite resources. We've seen plenty of documentaries about all the dead humans and the robots running around. We don't have like the ability to have factories to create stuff. We're going to have to be digging through salvage of what's left, right? So I'm thinking the sharpshooter, the kids and the people all over the place sharpshooting, and then maybe like a diversion or an ambush or some kind of a bait. And then they get lured into some place, you knock them over, you shoot them in the hips. And now you exploit them. You take all their stuff and you make weapons out of it. But I think that it's going to be more of that type of war of attrition versus go ahead.
No, humans are always going to be able to have more manpower than the robots, because you got to remember, to make a robot, you need technicians and you need technology, right? Humans, you need 2 unskilled workers, and they're glad to do it, and they don't even want to get paid.
No, you're right.
More soldiers.
You're right about the human part, but the robot part, you're not. As soon as robots start building themselves, of course, they don't need nothing. But you're right about the fact that it's more technically.
They need the resources. They need a lot more resources than human beings do.
Yeah, they can't just go scurry into a corner and make another baby. So yeah, you're right. That would be another weakness, and that's something. Well, Matrix goes into a little bit. Like during the war with the robots in Matrix, they tried to go after their power supplies, right? Their energy sources. So that might be a better, smarter way to go. It is after their means of reproduction, because they're going to need soldiers. They're going to need whatever assembly robots. They're going to need transportation robots. They're big, heavy robots. They're going to need big machines to move themselves around where we can.
Just like you fight any war, you go after their war-making manufacturing facilities. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Because then you can mop up whatever's left once they can't make anymore. You can't really do that with humans.
We're kidding around, but I do think this is an interesting one. I think that there's the zombie phase or whatever, was obviously fueled by the TV show and the people that like that. But the zombie concept was around, to preppers long before, and it was a politically correct, quote unquote, way of referring to the people that were unprepared, right? That would be doing anything and everything to desperately not die when they are running out of every resource they have, squandered. And you, as the person who is potentially prepared with some amount of meager resources, trying to protect them, there was always that, let's talk about the zombie apocalypse, sort of like, discussions at the gun shows and stuff. That turned into a, let's paint everything green and make a million shows about zombies, and it just caught on like, Godzilla phase or something, or King Kong or Frankenstein or whatever, like the fads. But I think robots is a more a better way to talk about it. And I don't know, maybe I think there's at least some debate on whether or not it's appropriate, even if you don't think robots can become self-aware, or that. Yes.
I think anybody who thinks that they're not going to become self-aware and that that's not a serious threat to humanity, you haven't read enough. Because if you read up on it, even some of the the real elite minds in computer science and that today are saying this is something we have to, it's maybe not an immediate threat, but it's something we have to consider. We have to put in there as something to worry about.
Well, again, like there's some people that will debate that, but I don't think you can debate. I don't think anybody would debate the concept of like power suits and robotic aids to the battlefield. We've already seen those mules, things that can, be a robot that can deliver gear, get a guy out of there, aid to the humans. Yeah. So I think there's definitely some advantage as individuals to know, the same way you'd want to look at a vehicle and know how to disable that vehicle from moving, least amount of resources possible, or quickest way possible, or the least noisy way possible. I mean, there's just certain things you, as an individual, want to be aware of. And like I say, whether or not you think the robots themselves can become self-aware, because we're going to be having this potential discrepancy of abilities, right, with the aid of these mechanical devices like the aliens, the power suit type of thing, or the Starship Trooper power suit. That kind of concept, that'll happen. We're making exoskeletons and all kinds of stuff, just armor. And so anyway, they're going to have these little robots helping them out. And I think it's worth knowing how to disable crap that's trying to hurt you.
That's a good thing. That's something we should talk about in the show in the future sometime.
Actually, I like to do projects. And since, I don't know if people have been watching, I think we talked about earlier, the dog puppet, right? One of the we've been wanting to do for a while is the Robot Assassin project, and I'm going to be doing that with a whole separate thing. So yeah, we'll definitely be having more conversations. We've done a couple of them already with Hosh, but we'll continue to do those, because I would like to do those at least like once a month or something, just to talk about a little bit more nerdy stuff in a way that's still gun and hopefully practical for something, just another way to have some fun conversations. Anyhow, the date that Skynet became self-aware, like I say, for lots of reasons, I think it's an interesting thing to be aware of. I didn't post that video, but I did have the Indiegogo campaign, and I did need to figure out a date for it to end. So I like to pick dates that have some significance. I figured today was some significance. So the Indiegogo campaign for the Gun Show Loophole Tour is going to end in a while, sometime tonight.
Oh, we're not. So, pretty good.
Well, it's not over yet, so I would like, I'm shooting for $5,000 right now. We're at 1,100 or 1,000. We're about $1,200. So that's with 22 people. So you can see with 22 people, that brought in quite a bit of bucks. But there's that option now for $1 in there. There's the option for $5.
Computer science and that today are saying this is something.
Whoops, with that. So anyway, there's options in there for just a few bucks. It'd be great to see a lot of people pile in at the last minute. And if you think it's interesting idea to have somebody driving around the country who's not getting paid by somebody selling you nothing, who's not selling you anything except for freedom and the concept of keeping our gun shops alive, and then coming to you every single day in a live show and doing supplemental videos as well as stuff about the adventure itself, the vehicle, the dog, and stuff that happens, then consider if that's worth something to you. I've got the time and I've got the interest to do it, and volunteering for the job here, or I'm giving you my resume. This is a way that you can participate in that by grabbing a patch and or two. They're $25, so you're basically putting some gas in the tank, and I'm going to send you a PVC patch that's for the tour this year, and you can participate in it financially like that. It would obviously be very helpful. But again, this is all about the social media, so we want to share. I'm going to ask you to share the project as much as possible in the last couple of hours here. A lot of people will see that it's ending and hopefully be more apt to jump in and participate. And like I said,
much. I mean, you throw a couple of bucks in. If enough people do that, it makes the project go a long way.
Well, potentially, we're looking at about $1,000, $1,500 to get to New York, and that would be another 20 people. So I don't want to sound like one of those things, the telethons or whatever, but it doesn't take a heck of a lot of people to fund something that doesn't cost a heck of a lot of money. So anyway, I just want to throw that out there. It's pretty much my last.
Your time is basically free, is what you're saying. Is you're giving your time for free if they'll just kick in so that you can eat and get gas on the road, and then you get all these videos.
I don't know about that, but anyway, this is my last chance to promote it, so I want to throw that out there, and again, urge everybody to share it in the last couple of hours here. We'll let you know tomorrow how it all turned out, and if we're still around, if the robots haven't decided to take over, in which case it would have been benevolent of them to allow us to live. Maybe we'll be able to broadcast tomorrow in binary.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Possibly.
At least for me, I mean, I don't live where there's a lot of high tech, so.
It looks like we've gone right over Ghost Tactical, as we're apt to do, like a steamroller, or like a Terminator Hunter Killer robot, smashing over the skulls of other daily live shows. And but we're going to stop right before we get to hit or miss, because Smeggy might be in there. We don't want to smash Smeggy. So
no, we don't want to smash Smeggy, right?
Yep, that would be next. And then later on this evening, more than likely, you'll see Big Gunner 81. He does a show on Tuesdays as well. Tomorrow's Wednesday, so that means more than likely Jimmy James will be doing the early watch over on Gun Channels from morning if you're on the West Coast, or afternoon if you're on the East Coast, all the way up till our show starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow is episode 388. We'll be doing our entertainment. We'll be talking about toy guns, water guns, paint guns, laser guns, etc. We'll be doing a good idea, bad idea segment, opening the door while carrying. In fact, we got, I don't know if Sean Ponnery's.
Well, right in the middle. Okay, well, not in the middle of the show. Of course, we're at the end of the show. But yeah, G-Web just dropped out. So let me see. We'll give him a couple minutes. I'll babble on for a bit, and then if he doesn't come back, we'll just end it with our quote. But before that, I just want to remind everybody, please share us on.
Where did it cut me off at?
Just about a minute ago.
Well,
we were just talking about Sean, I think.
Okay, so Ponnery had to answer the door with a 4570. He's in the Hurricanes area there. So an interesting story we might be able to talk about tomorrow for the good idea, bad idea segment. And then it's Wednesday, so we'll be doing the hashtag Daily Gun Show Showdown, where if you're on the Instagram and you like to take your pictures of your guns over there, or your puppies, or something else funny or cool or interesting, then give it the hashtag Daily Gun Show. And on Wednesdays, we look at all of those. Last week, looks like we had about 809 people who had used the hashtag. So we'll see whatever's accumulated over on top of that. We will go through those. We will judge them, and we will decide who's got the best picture on Instagram. Of course, we do our daily gun shop of the day, our gun of the day, and all the other good stuff you come to expect at the show. It'll be our second to the last day with Dano. So like Bob said, Dano's not listening right now. We could talk about some kind of surprise thing. I don't know. Do we want to do something? let us know. Imagine if you'd let us know in an email, then Dano's going to read the email, and you might as well have not let us know. So let us know some other way, I guess, if you want to do something or be part of that. And
some gun channels.
there you go. And then we'll figure that out, and then it'll be Thursday, and then there'll be no more Dano, I guess. We need a new Dano. So
Yeah.
if you're interested in being part of the show,
I just had a great idea. Anybody wants to be Dano? Just ask us for a link, and we'll just let you in on Dano's last day, and you can all like pretend to be Dano and say goodbye to Dano at the same time.
I don't
So
know. We need to vet these people. We're gonna have to do an extensive vetting process. Dano's sneaking in for just under a year. What the hell? So get all our hopes up and everything, then not even make it to that year mark. Ugh, we got to vet them next time. So anyway, if somebody does want the job, then let us know. We're more than happy to bring somebody on. I think it does do better with a couple of people. Bob and I did it by ourselves for a while, and it's not the same show. With the group of 4 of us, I think it did pretty good. And we got plenty of people up around gun channels. If somebody's got the time and the interest to do it on the regular, maybe we do jumping around. Like maybe we have a guest on a Tuesday or a regular host on a Wednesday or something like that.
time. I think we could change time.
I think we're going to be changing the time for sure. I really want to get Hank Strange over on gun channels. So I'm going to be asking him if he wants to jump over. We'll move our time slot over, test out a different time. And we'll talk about that. And then, like I say, give us some feedback if you're out there. We only got 20 people listening now. So, maybe we get 36, 40 people listening. It's frustrating a little bit when Yankees got 1,500. Matt will have, 200 or more sometimes. And ours hasn't really grown. So I know the 20 people that are listening at this point are the hardest of core listeners. So we do appreciate you guys and gals if you're out there. But yeah, it's a little frustrating just not seeing some growth. So that probably had something to do with the decisions of some of the other hosts. But now looks like we're even closer than ever to the original goal of the show, which is to get out there and promote shops every single day. I can't tell you how enthusiastic I am. I've been a little bit, it's tough. I've been doing this for a long time, and it's frustrating. And it's way easier to just say, fuck all this and go get, I was telling these guys about one of these state jobs. There's some state jobs out there that are gravy. If I just wanted to give up, I can just get some stupid state job and have a pension and just fart around going fishing or something boring. But anyhow, I got out to those gun shops in Arizona coming back from Albuquerque. And I'll tell you, I had no idea that when I went into some of these shops, specifically that surplus store, which the guy was just sitting in there twiddling his thumbs. He had a friend of his in the back rooting around. It would have been like if I went into my friend's store. He knows he's not selling nothing. And even if I do like something, he's going to give it to me, right? So it was one of those kind of situations where this guy's making no money. I go into the store, his eyes light up. I say, oh, there's a customer here. And then, he hears, oh, I'm not, figures out I'm not going to buy nothing. But I still left, and he had a smile on his face, even though I didn't buy nothing. So that got me encouraged. I went to a couple more shops that day. I did have one guy tell me to scram, that he didn't want any pictures on the internet. I can understand that. Gun shops don't know me from a hill of beans. But the other shops were so, again, like enthusiastic to see somebody in who actually gave a crap about it. It really does seem like this is the time to get out there and, just get out there and give the shops a little pat on the back. It's one of those things you're, just not winning. You're not losing. You're just wondering if it's worth being in the game. You're wondering if it's worth fighting. Sometimes just having somebody come along, give you a cup of water and a pat on the back and say, hey, I appreciate what you're doing. That's all you need sometimes to remember the fucking goal, right? So that's what I'd like to do. And, I'm not rich. I certainly didn't. I made some money on YouTube. I've spent it all on stupid crap that isn't selling right now. Otherwise, I wouldn't be even doing this. I would just be selling the crap and moving. But Bob's been with me to gun shows. I'll bring lots and lots of stuff to gun shows and sell one or two if I'm lucky, for a couple $100. But one of the goals is to get out and sell some of that stuff at the bigger shows, and I just need a boost to get going with that. So again, you guys are out there. I'm not expecting y'all to participate. I'm guessing the 20 people that are still listening to all this after all this are probably the 20 people that are already participating.
Yeah.
But please do share it. That does do a lot. Like I say, there's only 20 people so far that are participating at this point, and that's already brought in $1,200. That's paid for the patches. It's paid to get them out to you. Doing rough math minus the fees and stuff, I'm probably looking at a couple of $100. So it's going to take a big chunk of the $500 that it's going to take to get over to Houston. But it looks like at this point, I'm still going to be putting about $250, maybe more onto the credit card just to get gas to Houston. So anyway, I really do appreciate it. But again, it's as simple as maybe getting one more person on board or a couple more people on board, and that could, definitely cover the gas. And, ideally enough people get on at that last minute to make a trip that can really get me out there for a little while. Then that'll get us all an opportunity to get the show, oiled up and moving the way Bob and I saw it.
Exactly. And I mean, we all know those people that if you send them a link, they'll share it to everybody they know.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Send it to them. Send it to everybody you know that shares links. People are generally, if they have any kind of interest in what we're doing, they're going to want to share it, want to help us. Now, even if they don't, if they get something from somebody they know and they say, please share this because it's important, for whatever reason, your own reasons, whatever, that can make a big difference. I mean, just to get it out there on social media, that's how you spread the word nowadays. Used to be just rode around your horse and yelled things, but.
All right. Well, anyway, so I do appreciate everybody's time. We're not going to keep continuing to bore you here. We are overlapping into hit or miss at this point. So again, it's been fun playing the cartoon stuff. Stay tuned. I'm probably going to start up another Indiegogo right away to get going on the Gun Channel's comic and the trading cards. And so stay tuned for that. And we will continue to have some fun while we learn and hone our skills for hopefully a fight that never comes. Hopefully we're wasting all our time here. We'll become such an efficient and able person to deal with, or group to deal with, that the people on the other side will just move on to something else. They'll go fight, speed limits or drunk driving or something that has no defenders.
Yeah. Texting and driving.
Yeah, seriously, they can go after something that has no person, no group that's got a constitutional right to the activity.
That's right. And that kills way more people than firearms do. Let's make that point. All right? Drinking and driving and texting and driving kills, either one of them kills way more people than firearms do every year. Way more. So
we're trying to end it. We're trying to end it, though. So did you already do a quote and I cut you off, or did we?
No, I should do the quote now. So why don't we just finish it here? All right, so let's end our quote with actually a quote from Abe Lincoln.
Shit.
The Republican that freed the slaves.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up. Wow, I just watched a video on there are no coincidences. Interesting. So Charles Heller, friend of the show, radio show host here in Tucson, Arizona, wrote me an email today letting me know that he had done a show at the same time we go on, 4 p.m. our time, 7 p.m. Eastern. And so I couldn't do anything about it today, but it was a show with a, I don't know what he is, like a minister, a reverend or whatever religion, he's a person, whatever, minister, something. And he's very well spoken. He does a show on one of the radio stations here on Sunday before Charles, and whoever this religious guy is that they did this debate with was pro-Lincoln. And if you ever listen to Charles Heller before, he's like adamantly anti-Lincoln. He won't even call him Lincoln. He'll say the tyrant Lincoln. So Charles hates Lincoln a lot. And that was an online debate for an hour at 4 p.m. today. So we corked them as well as Andalusia Armory and Ghost Tactical. So I will probably put a link somewhere up because Charles did want to get that out to people. And if you're all interested to listen into a couple of people, is it a rabbi? Oh, okay. Thanks, Enrique. So yeah, it's rabbi, whatever. So, rabbis usually know how to have a debate or a discussion. If anybody's interested in that, I'll have some links up there. I suspect it might be interesting to listen to, and it's 1 hour. It's a radio show, so it'll be a 1 hour, package. Anyway, so you just happened to mention a Lincoln quote, so I thought I'd mention that. So people know Charles.
Well, and that's good. I mean, I really like this quote from Lincoln. It seems very appropriate for what's going on in both our countries today, because shit's going on in Canada that's pretty ridiculous too, about statues. But anyway, before I do the quote, I just want to remind everybody, please like, share, subscribe. You know what I always say. Support us on Patreon. Links in the description. All right, so on with the quote. America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. And that's Abraham Lincoln, and that is a very poignant thing to hear from a man that lived that long ago. So let's keep in mind what's happening in Texas and how the people are coming together and rescuing, no matter what color, no matter what creed, no matter what religion. They don't care. They're helping their fellow man. And that's, you know, something very important to see, that that's not gone from America. So good on Texas. And thanks everybody for watching and listening. We'll see you all tomorrow.